Ooh, it's that time again. It's that time of the week again. We are back with uh, another veteran spotlight, and this time we're going to be sitting here talking with Firestorm. Super cool guy. I can't wait to hear some of these stories. With let's just stop beating around the bush and let's go ahead and head right over. I'm excited. Here we go. Oh, there he is. What's going on, man? Welcome, welcome.
Going on?
Hey, thank you for being here. I
Appreciate you
super
having me.
appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. So, for those you don't know, myself, I do this a few times till people start getting familiar. My government name is Danny, and I was in the Marine Corps for a few years, and did my time in service, and kind of did this because I love hearing stories about veterans, and I feel like if you never talk about them, they get lost. So it's kind of they get lost in history because everybody's story is different. So I'm super excited to learn more about you and some of the stories you've got. So without further ado, let's start with the beginning. Firestorm, right?
Yes,
All right, and you were in what branch?
Army.
Oh, Army. Nice, awesome. So what brought you to the Army?
Um, I would say a lot of movies and a lot of action as a kid.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
yeah,
I think that's how it happens for a lot of us. We kind of we we start idolizing. Everybody idolizes heroes growing up, and then you kind of follow that path. And then next thing you see one too many Rambo movies, and you're like, I want to do that. Then
yeah,
you
absolutely.
then you end up picking up cigarette butts, and you're like, this isn't what I signed up for. Uh, so
That's a funny story, actually.
what what
So initially, I joined the reserves, Army Reserves, as an MP when I was 17,
Oh wow.
and you you said police or the smoke butt thing,
Yeah.
and so I was going to MP when I was 17. I didn't know any better,
Yeah.
and I went to drill one weekend, and they said, "Who wants to go on a police call?" And in my mind, I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to go on a police call.
Yeah.
I'm an MP. Let's do this."
Yeah.
And then I quickly found out that I was in the middle of a field picking up confetti from a parade float.
Yeah. That's not what police called
And then
back.
I was dumb enough to ask 30 minutes into it when we were going on the police call.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got made fun of pretty hard for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are always those good rib the new guy type stuff, Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I was young. I didn't know
yeah.
any better.
Absolutely. So speaking of young, you joined the Army when?
2007, I believe. Yeah,
Okay.
2007.
Yeah, 2007. Right.
And I was in the reserves for about a year.
Uh-huh.
I was going to, I did a year of electrical school in high school, and I was finishing my year outside to actually get like an electrical engineering certificate, degree, certification, whatever, my journeyman license too.
Mhm.
And that was right around the housing crash, and
Mhm.
no one was hiring electricians anymore. So I went active duty
Yeah. Yeah.
around 2008, and I got out 2015. So
Oh wow. Nice. So
what a while.
yeah, what it sure has. I joined up in 2005, so it has it has been a while. Now, so what uh where was your so you went to boot camp or basic? Where?
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri,
Fort Leonard Wood.
lost
Okay.
in the woods. Yeah,
Yeah. Nice.
that was my first experience of what sticky heat, like prickly heat. I,
Yeah.
I I never experienced that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's completely different when you head to different places. Uh I went to boot camp in California and
Yeah,
at Camp Pendleton, and then I ended up going to quartermaster school in Virginia. It's two completely different types of heat. It's insane because you're like hot's hot. No, it's not hot. it's all completely different depending on where you are.
Yeah. I've been all over the United States and all over the world, and I would have to say Fort Leonard was up there with Afghanistan for sure.
Oh, that's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Uh, so uh, so that's where you went to basic. Where was your first duty station at?
Well, I went to AIT, or my job training in Arizona
Hmm.
at Fort Huachuca. I was there for about a year. I went to school as an interrogator and source handler
Oh,
for source operations.
oh wow.
And then I did a follow-on school for clandestine source operations so I can handle elevated levels and train and recruit and use tradecraft for
Hmm.
sources. So
Wow. So your
I was there
school,
for a long time
yeah, your
in
school was
Arizona.
over a year.
Yeah, it was about a year long. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's how deep it goes into the school. That's crazy. Now,
Yeah, a lot of tradecraft, a lot of training.
out of the stuff you can talk about, what kind of stuff did you do in your schooling?
Interrogations, surveillance techniques, counter surveillance techniques,
Wow.
source operations, so handling people,
Yeah.
giving you information and running them correctly and safely,
Mm, mm.
and a lot of shooting, a lot of gun schools, advanced shooting,
Yeah.
plainclothes stuff. We did surveillance training in like San Diego
Hmm. Hmm.
and did foot routes and source meetings and uh, as real as you can get.
Yeah. It that sounds intense. Sounds intense.
Yeah.
What made you choose that over you were an engineer or a electrical engineer before? W-
I got my journeyman electrician's license. I didn't actually get a degree in electrical, so.
Okay. So what
But I liked Intel stuff. I like the Jason Bourne movies, and
Yeah.
I just like that whole realm, and I just want to be all about it.
Yeah. Now, is that what you went in and told your recruiter you wanted to do?
Yeah, yeah. I researched it pretty heavily before I
What
went, and
what
I
was
was really
his
good at it. So I got to go through a lot more extra schools and stuff. So
Yeah. What was your recruiter's reaction when you told him you wanted to do that?
he
Do you
said, "Well, let's see
remember?
what your ASVAB looks like."
Yeah.
I just made it.
Yeah. Oh, just barely.
Just
Yeah.
just squeezed that 110 out the door.
Jeez. Wow. That's crazy. Um okay, so you did a bunch of secret scroll stuff in your AIT, and then you ended up now with duty stations, is it very limited to where you go?
A little bit. I mean, every major base has some sort of intel unit.
Yeah.
I went to Bragg, which we had JSOC there and Delta and Group and everything.
Hmm.
So we were an expeditionary force, and we got attached to them most of the time.
Okay. Okay.
So a lot of my deployments were with those guys.
Yeah. Now, so deployments, how many deployments did you go on?
Um, Official deployments, like a normal traditional deployment, like everyone else goes on, was probably just one for Afghanistan. But
Hmm.
I've done a lot of expeditionary short-term deployments all
Okay.
over.
Okay. Now, how long into your you being in the fleet did you end up doing going on one of your either your regular deployment or some of these expeditionary stuff?
I did a little bit of expeditionary stuff before, and then I would say after about 2 years in, I did the Afghanistan one, which
Oh,
was the full year.
okay. Okay. So how was it? Now, what is it like an average day in like the fleet for someone who's in intel? Because I mean, I was a cook, so I mean, you can imagine what I did on a regular daily basis. Same thing with like MPs and
KP, 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 KP.
yeah. Now for
uh,
those,
Daily for like in garrison or
yeah, garrison, the fleet, stateside, uh,
either
whatever.
you were in a school, you were training someone else, or you were helping with selection processes. So I had a nice little TDY racket going where I would go assist with the selection process for candidates for the farm.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm not sure if you know what the farm is, but I mean, it's where people go to DIA or CIA to become
Hmm.
clandestine services. So we would run, uh, try to tiptoe now,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
operations to assist in that selection process.
Yeah. I don't want no black vehicle showing up at my front door.
Oh yeah, yeah, me either.
Yeah. Uh okay, so we'll kind of steer away from that. Like what is the like physical regiment for something like that? It's got to be
Um,
pretty intense, right?
Pretty gruesome actually, because you have to be able to be anywhere and do anything, right? So you have to be able to function in as little as a two-man team,
Yeah.
and operating environments in a two-man team, and it could be a second person can simply just be an interpreter. It doesn't even have to be an extra gun, right, or an extra set of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So physically demanding, mentally demanding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Part of one of the advanced schools I went to, where we practiced some of these meetings and running these sources, was um, you weren't allowed to take notes the entire 18 weeks of the course. So you had to
Oh,
memorize everything,
wow.
and you had to everything that developed in these meetings that you had with these sources, like you had to memorize it
Yeah.
and then go back. And if you, some people got brave and tried to write notes and just shove them down their pants, but they will kidnap you out of your hotel room and shake you down. And
Yeah.
if they find intel on you, then you fail. So
Oh, wow. That's pretty
I just
intense. Yeah.
I went the memorizing route.
Yeah, that sounds like a little safer. I'm
Yeah,
sure people
I didn't
still
want to get black bagged for a piece of notes in my underwear.
yeah, taking a couple notes. That's crazy. Wow. Um, so you picked up a lot of skills. Um, I kind of don't know where to go. So okay, so um, I've never I've done 15 or 16 of these, and I've never sat here and thought like, gee, should I ask that question or not? Or are we just
Go
gonna
for it.
skip over it?
Yeah, go
Uh,
for it.
okay, so your first so what was it like going out on your first um like I don't even know what to call them. So it's not deployments, but like the first time they were like, "Hey, you've got
A semi-permissive environment deployments is, I guess, is what you mean.
yeah,
To like
absolutely.
go into kind of different countries.
Yeah.
Pretty procedural, honestly.
Okay. Okay.
It You kind of like still by the book,
Yeah.
but as time goes on, you realize how hard you can ride that gray line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then that's where you really start to develop your skills and get some stuff done. I
Okay.
mean, there's the by the book, and then there's getting stuff done
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
legally.
Yeah. 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 I
But
think a lot of vets kind of understand, maybe not to the certain degree, but
yeah,
you've got your SOP, and then you've got like you need to get shit done. Job needs to be accomplished. Um, Now, how long do they like? Is it 24-hour notice? 48 hours? Could they just be like, "Hey, you get your shit and you got to go in the morning"?
yeah, it could be a few days, but most of the time we had some forward notice, and because you got to plan your own mission, so you
Hmm.
have to figure out what you're going to need and from who and from where, and facilitate everything ahead
Okay.
of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So generally, you had a pretty good idea of where you're going to be and what you had to do,
Hmm.
and to get prepared ahead of time.
Okay.
But there was some where like you had to support something that came up pretty quick, and you had to just go on the fly and
Hmm. Hmm.
make it up as you go, but
Okay.
not too often, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. They already had a plan of attack already laid out. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Now, so where are some of the interesting places that you've been able to travel to? Because you said you went around the United States and around the world. Um, what's some of the interesting places and sites you got to see while you were
Um,
out?
Romania was pretty cool. The
Oh,
Baltic region
yeah,
was pretty interesting.
yeah.
Um, Of course, South America is always fun. But I think the most memorable out of everything was my entire year in Afghanistan. That
Hmm.
was probably the coolest and the most I got done.
Okay. Uh, so Afghanistan was like a regular deployment for you, like comparative to everybody else.
Well, it was traditional
Tra-
length and
Traditional.
deployment.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was at a combat outpost, so very small, um, half the size of a football field, maybe.
Oh. Okay.
We had some infantry unit out of Texas and some Delta guys on a compound
Hmm.
in Kandahar.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
so the what kind of stuff do you end up doing on a deployment like that? Because you were stationary,
Um,
right? You weren't moving around. You just were kind of in that area.
Definitely moved around,
Okay.
but some interrogations and a lot of source operations.
Hmm.
I hope everyone understands what I mean by source operations. I mean, it's you're handling informants, basically, I guess is the elementary definition of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot to. Yeah. If you
And they
could.
could be as small as locals all the way up to, um, since I was trained and had certifications, all the way up to like government officials.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I forgot there are quite a few people in here who weren't in the military. So
Yeah.
anytime we get to an acronym or something, I'll try to.
Clandestine operations, I guess, is the actual uh, U.S. side term of it, like what
Mhm.
DIA and stuff does.
Okay. Um, oh boy. Is there any interesting stories you could share?
Oh, lots. Let's see. The funniest thing I ever saw.
Oh yeah,
Mm, I saw how ineffective Hellfire missiles are.
yeah. Oh
Multiple occasions.
yeah.
We had these. They're called Peaches balloons. They look like big blimps, and
Hmm.
we throw them up in the air, and they have cameras on them that can see for almost miles.
Yeah.
And one night I was up late in the operations uh, center, the tuck, and we got this guy putting an IED in the ground on camera. So we called a Kiowa helicopter out, attack helicopter to intervene. And it arrived, and by that time he'd already finished planning the ID, but we maintained eye contact the entire, well, camera contact the entire time.
Yeah.
And we're following along on the camera, and we hear the Kiowa pilot come online on the radio saying he's in the area, and then he got eyes on the target. He's following for a little while, maintained contact, and then eventually he launches this Hellfire, right?
Hmm.
And you can hear they actually, I was surprised how loud missiles are when they leave a helicopter's
Yeah.
when they leave the helicopter, but you hear it go, oh, and a few seconds go by and you see a big dust cloud where the motorcycle was. And out of this cloud, you see a man full on sprinting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sprinting as if like nothing happened. And I'm like, this dude just
Jeez.
got hit by a hellfire and he's
Yeah.
sprinting out of this dust cloud. And he dove into a ditch and he tried to crawl into a house, and then the guy had to refuel, and then he ended up coming back. So you see this guy peeking his head out the door of this compound, and he's looking around. He's like, "Oh, I guess it's clear." And he comes out, and then the Kiowa finally comes down and finishes the guy off with a 50 cal.
Jeez.
Almost hits a tree. I mean, this Kiowa went so low to the ground, he almost slammed into a tree, but eventually he got him. That was
Yeah.
probably the funniest thing I ever saw.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet he was like, "You're not getting away this time. I don't care.
No,
I don't care if I have to land this thing on top of you."
no, no. The missile won't take you out, and
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll
Like,
just run you over, basically.
yeah. That's. I feel like that was his mindset at that point. Like, if I have to get out and grab my e tool, if that's the route we have to go, like
Yeah.
you're mine. That's crazy though. Yeah, you never expect. I never would have expected that. If it would have hit the
And it
motor.
happened more than once. Like I saw it like multiple times during that
Oh,
deployment where a Hellfire didn't kill somebody. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. These things are useless.
yeah, absolutely. Well, they're like $1.5 million. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
expensive.
They're pretty expensive for it not to work and just to hit them with
Yeah.
a $4 50 cal round.
Yeah, yeah. Just throw a brick at them, and like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Um, so what's um, oh boy, what's let's see. It's so I don't know. It's so different. Um,
It's unique for sure. Yeah.
Unique, absolutely unique. Because you have the regular. I've talked with some people who I did one of these with the guy who was a medic and he traveled around with Delta and with Airborne, but it was all stuff like medical related where it wasn't. Um, he could, like he had no problem. I don't feel like you don't have a problem talking about it, but he could just. There was no kind of restriction wise, So, uh, I don't.
That's something I get asked a lot. And the obvious questions: if you killed anybody and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. I don't really care about talking about that.
yeah,
But it's what keeps me up at night is the stuff I couldn't do.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah, man. I
people you couldn't save or the work you couldn't get done is what keeps me up. Not what I've done. It's what I couldn't do.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like a lot of us veterans, regardless of what you did, there's always some sort of survival guilt. Regardless of if you went on one deployment, you went on 12 or whatever, you always feel like if I could have or if I would have, there's always I could have changed it. I could have done this. I could have done that. And I think that's what we beat ourselves up a lot about that, regardless of the type of MOS you have,
Yeah.
the type of job you have.
One story I could never get through before, but I've gotten better about telling it, I guess.
Sure.
I I was in a village one time talking to a kid, and this kid, like, seemed like he had a lot of good information, right? And because his dad was part of the local police or something like that.
Hmm.
So I was talking to this kid and talking to him. He's spilling the beans, right? So I just kept it going, didn't think anything of it. And then later that evening, uh, his dad carried him to the front gate of the compound, and he'd been set on fire with gasoline.
Yeah, that's rough.
So I carried him inside the compound and went the fuck off in the talk, asking for a medevac for this kid, and I finally won my argument and got him one. And I never found out what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that story. It's rough to think like we live in such a civilized, semi-civilized country, and to think some people are just trying to do the right thing and help, and they get treated like,
Yeah, and it didn't help that I had a kid about that age, and here I am
ooh, yeah,
carrying them in my arms as a result of something that I was just negligent on, I guess. I
yeah,
should have been more cognizant of who's around when I'm talking and stuff like that.
yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of guys on deployments where they had, like there were kids on overpasses, and like at first, uh, my first deployment in Iraq, they kind of it was one of those things where uh, well, what's so dangerous about kids, on overpasses, and then they're talking about, like sometimes they
Yeah,
throw bricks, sometimes they throw grenades, like you can't give a warning shot, and you see these guys who a lot of the guys who are, A drivers or drivers and stuff, like they're having a horrible time because these are the older guys and they've got kids right around that age, and they're telling, like shoot them, like we have a mission to complete. And, and it was always the
Yeah.
guys who have kids that age that, you got to shoot a kid, like tear them apart.
And yeah, I always tore into the new guys that would come in and say, I have no problem shooting a kid, them or me. I always told them, I try not to get mad, but like, I would be like, you really don't know that until you're there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that brief second before you have to do something, you don't know what you're capable of until that moment happens.
Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of people are always like, well, I do, whatever. It's not a big deal. I'll do this.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll
It's
whatever.
easy to think about,
Yeah.
but
But when you're in that
harder to
moment,
do.
and it's usually those people who talk the most shit when rounds come down range, you're looking around and they're frozen.
Yeah.
And it's like,
People who
well,
talk the most did the least usually.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a big that's a big issue with I think uh with people, it would get a little off subject, but the people who are always like, well, I would have joined the military, but a drill sergeant, drill instructor gets in my face. It's those type of people that
Yeah. And I feel for the people who want to join really bad, but simply can't because of some sort of medical reason or something
yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I wish they could because as many, as much as stuff sucks, I think we would all do it over again for some reason. I
Absolutely.
I, I don't know why. But
I feel like a lot of us military veterans or people in the military are just a different breed of people. We're willing to sacrifice stuff for people we've never met before because it's in our it's ingrained in us somewhere. It comes from somewhere because we're not related. We're not. This is the first time you and I have ever spoken in person. Well, I guess in person, internet person, and
COVID time persons, yeah.
yeah. And at the same time, we still have the same type of sacrifice built ingrained in us.
Yeah,
We
and there's a
grew up
certain
in
amount of immediate respect built into all of this, right? So,
absolutely.
um, like I see Ghost in chat, right? Ghost is in the military, so
Yeah,
there's an immediate already rapport built
absolutely.
almost, and you kind of have to go out of your way to destroy that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same thing. Like I'll see people. I've seen people out. Like I'll be at a bar and they'll have a whatever campaign hat or Vietnam or whatever, and instantly, there's some sort of kinship, and it's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Let me buy you a drink or whatever, and you'll sit
Yeah,
there and kind of BS and stuff and talk shit, and then some random person will come up or whatever, and it's like try to do the same thing, and it's like, wait a minute, fuck off, get out of here, like
yeah.
you. I feel like it's just some sort of I don't know, some sort of unspoken kinship. I,
Yeah.
and
I really don't. I mean, I really don't talk about all this unless someone wants to know. Like, I don't just go around telling stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel
I
like
mean, I've done a lot of cool things. I could probably tell stories all day about, but just unless someone really wants to know, I don't know. I
yeah,
don't. I never felt the need to just be a storyteller.
yeah, yeah. It's usually the people who brag, the guys who are trying to tell the stories, usually heard them from somewhere else, or are embellishing quite a bit. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so, speaking of cool stories, so I mean, what else you got? So you've got the Hellfire, the missile's not going off. Um, have you? What about
Um,
jumping out of perfectly good planes? Is that your cup of tea?
I have. Yeah, it's not easy on the knees, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the general consensus.
Helicopters.
Yeah.
Um, almost went to Pathfinder school, but they canceled the school for that year, so I never got to go, which would have been pretty cool.
Mm.
Um, it's just one of those elite tabs or badge schools you can go to
Yeah.
brag about, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Put on your resume.
yeah.
Um,
Um, let's see. I've done. I mean, ridden the legs swinging off a chopper and night missions and
yeah.
breach charges on walls and okay. I mean, I've done. I was almost kidnapped a couple times.
Oh,
Uh,
well, can you talk about that? Or
uh,
like
yeah,
vaguely or
I think
something?
so.
Like
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
I'm piqued my interest
Um,
kind of instantly.
one of them resulted into pretty gruesome ending. I
Oh,
can probably sugarcoat that in the end, but
yeah.
so I was.
Share what you want, man.
I used to go to a local house with my interpreter to eat. A guy who rented the land what the compound was on spoke really good English,
Hmm.
and the National Army, the Afghan Army guys would go over there with us sometimes and eat as well. When we were over there eating one night, and I had the best interpreter known to man, and he's actually in the United States now. I guess we can get into that later, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We talked about that.
we were just sitting on the floor eating our food and talking, and my interpreter got a little bit of a vibe on someone who kept coming in and out, in and out, in and out, and he mentioned it to me. He said, "Let's keep an eye on that guy." I was like, "You got it, buddy. I mean,
Yeah.
this is your culture." So we continue eating, and a couple A&A left, and I think there were two or three left in the room, and then the landowner, and the guy comes back in with a gun and had basically what was interpreted back to me was he wanted me to go with him,
Hmm.
and so he had turned to look out the door to see if someone was coming back, and I had just like saw my golden opportunity
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
tackled his ass into a wall and um,
Diffuse the
eliminated
situation.
eliminated the problem,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Wow,
and had to get in a uniform after, but yeah, I
yeah.
didn't get kidnapped. So
That's that's crazy. Wow. That's intense.
uh, the second time, I decided I wanted to hop on a ride with some infantry unit
Hmm.
because I needed to get into this village to get something from somebody. I forget what I needed to get. I needed to get something, and we were staying in a house talking to somebody, and the unit had left. They just left me and my interpreter.
Yo.
And we
Oh,
were pretty far
yeah.
from the compound at this point. So we realized at that point, if they know that we're here and it's just two of us, we might be able to get by, but it's not going to be easy. So we
Yeah.
just hauled ass through those poppy fields back to the compound because we were not fitted out to be in a two-man fight for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You guys were planning on being with a whole squad, not just you
But
guys.
before we and they were starting, the guys got out and they were starting to go into houses.
Hmm.
And that was probably what I would say the second time where I almost was kidnapped.
Yeah. Oh, they were going through houses looking for you guys?
Yeah. Somebody
Jeez.
told them we were there, but I guess they didn't know exactly where.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It's not like they have mailboxes or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's insane. I've done a lot of like adrenaline like junky stuff, but I couldn't imagine the type of adrenaline that was, like
That's the scary part. It's scary how complacent's a bad word to use, but it's probably the appropriate word to use
yeah, yeah.
of how comfortable you get in all of these situations.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
especially mid-fire fight. Like I tried to keep account for the longest time, and
Yeah.
I think I got to about 180 something
Yeah.
of different engagements in it. After I would say the first couple dozen, you're just, depending on the scale of the fight, you're just kind of walking around having
Mhm.
conversation, not thinking anything about it.
Yeah, you definitely get numb to. I can relate with that. Absolutely. I was in Iraq in 2007, 2008. I was in Ramadi, which at that point in
Oh
time
yeah.
was
Yeah.
the second
Do you
deadliest
know
city
the
in
name
Iraq.
Ramadi? Yeah.
So I can relate with that. The more firefights you become, I don't think you become complacent. I just think you become numb to it because it just happens on a regular basis. Like
And I say
it's a regular.
complacent's a bad word because like your skill set and knowledge doesn't go
Yeah,
out the window, right? Like you're still maintaining situational awareness and
yeah,
cognitive
absolutely.
of the severity.
Yeah,
I think you just care less.
yeah. I think that's what
Uh,
it is too. It's just kind of like your give a fuck meter is just kind of like it's broke at that point. You're
yeah,
you're like you have all the training, everything kicks in, you do what you do, but you're kind of like I have other shit to do today. Like,
yeah.
can we just get this
Especially the
over with?
100, 200 yard range.
Yeah, get out of
It's
here.
like whatever.
You're not
It's
gonna hit me
the
with an AK from that distance. Like, just
oh shit, there's a guy around this corner is when it's like you kind of get a little more puckered,
yeah,
I guess.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Um, I 100%
Turns in a
definitely
normal
agree.
day. Absolutely goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
part of the normal.
absolutely. I guess it's just more of an adrenaline thing because I've never had that. I've never been in that situation. Like to where I'm like, oh shit, this guy wants me to come with them, and I mean, if I don't stop them, like, oh shit, I'm gonna be on the back of a milk carton.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Not in another country. No. Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Okay, so let's see. What was the coolest? Uh, so you've ridden in a lot of different, like you said, your legs hanging out the back of a helicopter. You've jumped out of planes. What was the funnest or most in? What was the best experience you had from doing something like that?
Coolest mission I had was probably a night mission on a Blackhawk and landing right outside a compound and watching these Delta dudes put the fucking shape charge on the wall and reach and everything.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
yeah, that
Um,
seems. It sounds like a good
and
movie to
just
me.
the little things you learn, like when you put your night vision on at night
Hmm.
and a helicopter lands, the sand around the blades actually like electrifies a little bit, and it looks like a bunch of lightning bugs almost going off around the rotors.
Yo, I didn't know
That was
that.
pretty neat. Yeah, like you put your night vision down and like you see the rotors in the sand, and it
Wow.
creates like electric. I don't know the proper word. I should,
Hey man.
but it just looks like a bunch of sparkles going off. It was
Yeah,
cool.
it's
Little things
pretty.
like that. I
That's
guess you
awesome.
find out.
Yeah, I've worn NVGs in Iraq and stuff, and because they have no use for cooks, so you do a lot of shit that like I wasn't trained to do, but they need bodies. But
Yeah,
I've never seen NVGs in helicopter. That's insane. That's crazy. Wow, I never even would have thought that either. That it creates some sort of electrical charge. That
yeah.
wow.
At first I was trying to figure out what was going on, and then I kind of put two and two together.
Yeah. Wow. That's nuts. So have you got to plant explosives yourself? I know you talked about them earlier. You learned how to do it.
Um, no, I didn't really do anything
Oh, okay.
explosive wise, but I did do a lot of advanced shooting schools. My unit used the second most amount of ammo on all of Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
Um, the next one up was the entire 82nd
The entire
Division. So,
the
um,
entire.
uh, and this was
uh,
just a couple companies. So
yeah, that's crazy
we
though.
used a lot of ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your
Um,
so you've shot a bunch of different stuff. What's the what's your favorite brag about like this I got to shoot this and it was amazing.
oh, minigun, hands down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. On our compound, we had instead of putting guys in towers that could fall asleep, we had the crow systems, the miniguns on remote control,
Mm, yeah.
and each of the four towers, and
Yeah.
all had joysticks inside the talk, and you could just turn it with a joystick, and that
Yo,
was pretty cool.
I went into the wrong MOS. Like we didn't even have road. We had mud roads in Ramadi.
Yeah. That was
Jeez.
probably the nicest thing we had because we didn't have running water. Oh, the shower was
Oh, yeah.
we poured a bunch of water in this bag and poked holes in it.
Yeah. Running water. You never realize how good you have it until you have running water.
Yeah, I knew when my socks would stand up on themselves, like by themselves. That's
Yeah.
when I had it pretty rough.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
And I could never complain about the heat again after sitting in a porta potty at 11 o'clock at night and it's still over 100 degrees.
when your stomach starts hurting at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the middle of the desert, and you're like, I have to go into a porta potty. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I know what a turkey feels like now. It's
yeah.
disgusting.
And I worked really long hours, so like, but, but personal choice. I didn't have to work like 18-hour days, but like for some reason I felt the need to work 18, 20-hour days.
Yeah,
But I was up real late one night doing because I had people coming in the middle of the night because it was just easier for them to talk at that time and not be seen.
sure.
And I had to get up the next morning and go do something else. And I chugged a bunch of those shitty coffees they give you. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, I was never a
You know what I'm
coffee
talking about?
guy.
They're like the Starbucks coffee things in a can or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I chugged like 4 of them, right? And it was still kind of cool out. And I was riding in the truck and it got really hot.
Yeah.
Uh, so I stood up and tried to throw up off the side of the truck. I fucking missed terribly, and it hit the tray, and it started dripping down on everybody, and they
No,
were pissed.
I bet. I bet. Uh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that
uh,
was. I didn't drink this coffees anymore after that.
yeah, I never was into the coffees. I just used to chug the Rippets.
Yeah, the Riplets. Yeah.
I actually, so we did a little humble brag, 24-hour charity stream for PTSD and on the channel, and we raised $650. Because of the community, because you guys are great. And one of the things I had was I had Rippets that I was drinking on stream as a kind of a thing. You can find them at the dollar store now.
I can't eat a Cliff Bar to this day, though.
Yeah, Cliff Bars.
I survived on Cliff Bars for like probably 3 or 4 weeks because we ran out of food because the
Yeah,
supply run got hit. We just
yeah,
rationed water and ate Cliff Bars.
yeah. I think I've eaten so many Otis Spunkmeyer muffins and cookies that I could never have one ever again. I don't think I could
Yeah.
ever. I'm okay with those. Uh,
We actually had a great cook on our compound. We had one of those. What are those? Is it MKT? The trailers.
oh yeah,
They have like the
well,
kitchen.
they're called
What was
different
it called?
things
MKT.
in different branches, but
Different branches. Yeah.
it in
But
the
essentially, it's like the mobile kitchen or whatever we had. It was like the
yeah,
size of a
yeah,
small container, I guess.
yeah. We called them
And it
the
took real good care of that
FSSUs.
guy.
Yeah.
He got really creative with chicken and rice because that's about all we had.
Yo, you'd be
We ended
surprised.
up just getting a lot of local food and stuff. Like I would just spend some of my Afghan money and get like watermelon and
Yeah.
good food,
I worked at a class
lamb.
one
We bought
lot.
a goat one time. We killed it and we cooked it right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I worked at a class one lot, and we ended up having that quite a bit because we'd get.
You're the guy that everyone wants to be friends with,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. That was probably the easiest job I had when I was in Iraq. Was I worked at
Yeah.
the class one lot. Like everybody was buddy with me.
You need a case of Dr. Pepper? I got you, buddy.
Yo,
I
yeah,
got
absolutely,
you.
man. They'd be like,
Bring me a
hey,
pack of cigarettes.
they'd be like, oh, hey, look, these boots
Yeah.
fell off the truck, and they're kind of in your size. It's like, well,
Yeah. Nicotine is currency
absolutely.
also. So if you got a carton of or
Oh man.
a roll of Copenhagen, you can go a long way.
Yo, so I smoked a long time ago, and especially
Yeah, I did too over there. Yeah.
when I was in Iraq, and ran out of
Cheaper and easier.
ran out of cigarettes. So my buddy was like, "Oh, here's some dip," and I was like, "Well, I've never done it before." And he's like, "You're fine. Just when you feel like you gotta spit, spit." I'm like, "All right, whatever."
Knocks you on your ass.
Well, surprisingly, not so bad. I did it for
Yeah.
a couple days, and then we went on a convoy. One of the lead one of the lead vehicles hit an IED, so we stopped 360 security. Well, when they slammed on their brakes, I'm not used to dipping, swallowed my dip. Uh,
Mm,
so we're setting up the security and everything. We get the all clear. Soon as we get the all clear, I throw up everywhere, just everywhere. And the convoy commander comes up. He's like, "You're right, son." I said, "Yes, sir." I was like, I've been here like 7 months. Like, I got TAD'd to them, which means um, my parent command kind of gave me to this other unit. For those of you,
Opcon, yeah.
yeah, for those of you who don't speak military stuff,
Operational control, but not administrative control. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, "Sir, I've been here like 7 months. I'm TAD to you guys who've only been here like 3 weeks. Like, I'm okay." I was like, I swallowed my dip. I'm new at it. And he patted me on the back and he's like, "You'll be all right, son." And he turns around, walks away, and he's talking to him and his A driver and stuff like that. And they just kind of turned around and he points at me and then they all start laughing. And I was like, "Oh,
Was this the same unit that you got like enslaved to for a really long time and kept
yes,
getting extended on? Yeah,
yes,
okay, I
this was
remember
the,
the story. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that story where you were just like stuck with him forever.
yeah. I did my deployment and then they were like, "We need help setting up helping this unit set up." And I was like, "Well, all right, I'll go." And then they were like, "All right, well, we're gone. You can go ahead and stay here with them on the rest of their deployment." So that was that's when I started being on my OFP, and
Yeah.
yeah, but that's another story. Like if we get to like 50 of these, maybe I'll do my own by myself. I don't know, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely remember you telling that on stream before that.
Yeah, yeah,
I was blown away of how much you got screwed over. But I mean, ultimately, I
yeah.
guess it turned into an experience.
Absolutely.
You always do.
You got to take the best out of it because if not, I could just sit here and be depressed all day long about having to be in Iraq back to back deployments, not of my own
Yeah.
choice. So it's whatever.
And
It
it
was
gives
good,
you a
good
lot of
times.
like bragging credibility too, I suppose.
Yeah,
Like,
I
oh,
don't.
yours was 6 months long? Well, I was there forever.
6 months? Yeah, I did 6 months back to back. I mean, like
Yeah.
it was nothing. Uh, so all right.
Year was tough though. I missed the first year of my firstborn, so
Mm, yeah, that's
I watched her grow up through pictures.
yeah, that's rough. You never realize how you never realize. I talk about this on stream all the time because my son will be 12 in 8 days, and
Okay.
you never realize how much you miss until you miss something. Like you never realize how much you miss like them. Well, I was there for his first steps, and all that type of stuff. But like you miss out on first time he hits a baseball, or the first time he just started the 6th grade, and you realize that like you miss out on these things, and it's
Yeah, I left. She was born. I left. I came back. She was walking. I mean,
yeah, it's rough.
so I think I mean, it's like to this day, she kind of still holds like a special place of favoritism, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, trying to make up for those first steps.
Yeah.
So
Um,
so you said you would buy goats and stuff like that. Have you eaten any other crazy exotic stuff on your random world adventures?
snake, alligator.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can get that in Florida. I mean,
yeah, I guess it's not really exotic.
yeah,
I mean, you probably get snake in Florida.
yeah. Sorry for those
I don't
people
know,
who live
Flom,
in
can you get
Florida.
snake in Florida?
Oh yeah. uh, I mean, I tried camel when I was in Iraq. It's not
Well,
for
that
me.
I have not. I haven't tried that.
It's not for me.
I imagine it's pretty tough.
Yeah. Have you ever had buffalo?
Yeah,
It's kind
I've
of like
had a buffalo burger.
it's kind of like
It was in
buffalo.
Savannah, Georgia, though. I wasn't really.
Oh yeah.
That was here.
It's it's a little lean meat, or at least what I had was.
I liked it. It had like that gamey taste, almost like if you were getting a deer.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Uh, what other? Can you talk about any other secret scroll stuff that you'd like to talk
Um,
about? it's always hard to to kind of guide in that direction because I'm not a
Yeah, like, I've done so much, and there's so much I really can't, but I'm trying to think about what I can. I think
yeah.
that's what takes the longest.
Well, uh it's harder because like I've never done anything. I mean, I worked with pit teams and mitt teams, but like that's the extent of. I mean, I got to
I
meet.
guess I go in the schools a little bit. I mean, I
Yeah,
think I did a little bit of that advanced source handling school, but that was probably the most gruesome of training. Um,
yeah. What's it?
Long, very long days.
Yeah.
But we did it all stateside. So like we operated an everyday world civilian environment. So we trained out in Phoenix and Tucson and San Diego was where the school was kind of took place, but it was based out of uh, Fort Chuka in Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Hmm. Hmm.
A lot of shooting schools, like I don't keep saying it, but like
Yeah.
not just like a go to the range kind of school, more like a one experience for a shooting school. Like we sat in a round table in a room with like 16 doors, and it
Hmm.
was reactive training.
Oh, that's crazy.
And someone comes to the door, you stand up, shoot,
Yeah.
and just repeat that over and over and over again. And then like shooting out of cars and windshields and
Hmm.
shoot houses, like clearing and no long range. I didn't go any long range like sniping or shooting or anything
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
I did get to use one though in Afghanistan. Guy wanted to go to sleep, and he gave me his rifle. It was a
Yeah.
big ass, had that big ass thermal scope on it, and you
Hmm.
could see forever. And I was just kind of laying back on top of the truck one night. We were camped out, and I was just looking through the scope on the side of the mountain, and I didn't know that there were any birds in the area, like the helicopters or whatever. And I hear one off in the distance, and I'm watching this mountainside, and I just see it light up with with like explosive rounds, of like
Yeah.
just going to town over there. I'm like, it was pretty far. I mean, it was like 20 miles away, maybe.
Yeah.
But you could see it off in the distance to the thermal. I'm like, what is going on over there?
Yeah.
But
Pretty
I didn't get
crazy.
to shoot it though. Not much happened that night, but it was a pretty cool rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. I worked at a gun range and we had the Barrett, the 50 cal. Uh,
Yeah.
that's great. We would take it out and shoot it. We'd go out to the desert and yeah, you'd be surprised you hit something. You don't think that bullet's going to travel as far as it does until it travels as far as it does. It's uh
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And all it has to do is remotely get close to a person that rips their arm
Yeah,
off.
absolutely. The what is it? Centrifugal force or I don't know. I joined the
Yeah.
Marine Corps. I don't
The
use big words, so
yeah.
uh,
Crowns.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rogue.
Hey, Rogue. What was the what was the most intense school you went to?
Either the advanced source handling or the something called Cat R, where we did a lot of surveillance stuff, like
Hmm.
bugging and breaking into things was pretty
Hmm.
intense. It was fast, very fast paced
Hmm.
because it was a short school.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
but breaking into cars and bugging coffee cups and hotel rooms
yeah.
and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yo, that's crazy. I mean, you could make a movie out of this. They've made movies out of this. The type of stuff you're talking about. You've been doing. That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
definitely watch movies and sometimes appreciate the accuracy. And then
Yeah.
there's times where like that's
You watch it. That's not how
that'll
it
never
works.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not how you do that.
Uh, so
But I've seen a lot of clandestine movies where they're handling like sources and stuff. Like Body of Lies is pretty accurate.
hmm, I'll
You
have
ever
to check
watched
that out.
Body of Lies with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No,
That
but I'll check it
that,
out.
that pretty much nailed source handling and operating environments like that.
Maybe right. Yeah, I just wrote that down.
I
I'll check
enjoyed
it out.
that one.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what was harder for you, the mental stuff or the physical stuff?
Um, Harder how where and
Like,
how
where
I
did
guess.
you?
What do you mean?
So during your career, what was harder for you, dealing with the constant physical? the sleep deprived stuff, or like the mental the mental like stress of
Um,
things? Because I know people who,
I think mental,
yeah,
physical is pretty easy and for a long time until I got banged up pretty good. But
yeah,
mental, hands down, especially in a high memory capacity position like that, where you gotta remember
remember,
so much
yeah, everything.
and still remember what you're getting information wise,
Hmm.
but then remember all the operational techniques and stuff too.
Hmm.
Um, just a lot to do. It's not as simple as just calling somebody up and saying, "Hey, you want to talk?"
Yeah,
There's a lot of planning involved, you know.
yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. Uh, so you said, so you briefly touched on it. You got hurt. You got banged up.
Did um,
You want to talk about that?
I got blown up, shot, stabbed, but blown up was probably the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
200 pounds of HME
Oh,
riddled through my body, and I still feel it to this day.
yeah. Uh,
I was down for the count for a few days, and I wanted to get back on the horse. They tried to get me to go back to the air base to
mhm.
medically get checked out, and I said, "No, I'm good. I'm good. Let's go. Let's go back. Let's
Yeah.
get on this." 3 days later, I got blown up again with 80 pounds.
Oh, yeah. It,
So I took about a week after that. I took a week of just kind of knowing some reports and stuff and taking it easy. And then I went back again and I said I was fine, and now I'm paying for it.
yeah, absolutely.
TBI is
It's no
hard to
joke.
live with,
Yeah, absolutely. Uh,
and the PTSD carries into the TBI, so like it goes hand in hand. So like they say I have PTSD, but all of my symptoms stem from the TBI, right? Like,
yeah.
but the VA wants to pay for PTSD because it's cheaper to pay for one category than it is for 5 categories.
Absolutely. I same, not the same, but hit an IED in Iraq and got a TBI as well. And
Yep.
I don't even have TBI on my VA on my VA sheet, but I have PTSD.
Hmm.
And it's because the fact that it's easier for them to treat, like monetarily, for PTSD,
Yep.
because you just sit down. Oh, go talk to a therapist. It's like, well,
They
that's not what's
they
wrong.
rated me for TBI,
Yeah.
and then I went for another eval, and then they switched it. I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah.
How do you claim something and diagnose as TBI and all the residuals of, and then you're like, you know what? It's just in this category now.
Yeah. Psych. Changed my mind. Yeah. It's
Oh my God.
the VA's in shambles.
VA.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I moved and I can't get an appointment. They said they're not taking new patients.
yeah. Well,
I'm like, but you're the VA. What do you mean you're not taking new
you
patients?
don't have that option. You're not supposed to have that option allowed. That they
Yeah.
decided not to.
Oh, like we spoke before we started, like I'm not too political, but like if you want to see what a single payer healthcare system looks like, just look at the VA.
Oh boy. Uh.
If you want universal healthcare, go wait in the VA for like 3 hours to get your blood drawn, and then maybe it'll
Yeah.
at
Then
least enlighten you
yeah.
and
Then wait
give you
3 months for your next appointment
yeah.
for them to
And then you
cancel
have to
it.
get an X-ray before you get an MRI, but it's for an organ. So like the X-ray is not going to do anything, and then you have to wait for the MRI. Then you have to wait for this
Yep.
primary, then go back to a specialist doctor, and then they refer you to a specialist clinic. It's
Hmm.
just like I'm just going to the private doc. Forget this.
Yeah. And then I mean I've done a lot of that for
So
my.
I think that's what they want you to do. Honestly,
They
I
kind
think
of
they
want
just
you to
want to
give
wear
up.
you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to do that a lot for my back and stuff. And then what happened was, dog, go on, go. It's all right. My dog's like a year old, so she's all over the place. Yeah, I know, you're special. But that's kind of, I had to do the same thing with the VA, and then then my doctor quit, and then they were like, well, we need you to start the process all over again. I said, well, what do you mean I got to start over again? Like, you've got my paperwork. The X-rays
Yeah.
aren't going to change themselves, Like, it's not like because I got a different doctor, uh, the test results are going to come back different. So I think they try to
It's
frustrate you
amazing.
to the point where you're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
fuck it. I'll
I
do
had
it
a
on my own.
great doc that challenged me and, you know, helped
Yeah.
me get somewhere good. And then she retired. And a new one took over and took me off of all the medication and tried to send me a bunch of different clinics. And I
Yeah.
just said, screw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went private. I'm not saying don't get into the VA health system because it definitely helps with claims and stuff. Like
Yeah.
get in there, document it, and then go do whatever you got to do.
Yeah. I've heard people have had really good luck, and then I've had really bad luck. So I'm kind of on the opinion of go and try and see how it works for you. And if it works good for you, do it. If not,
Yeah, it
don't
worked really
be
good for a few years.
yeah, don't be afraid to go somewhere else. Don't be afraid to tell them like I would like a copy of my medical record. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go somewhere else because it's your
And
medical record.
don't be afraid to put a claim in. You don't need
Absolutely,
anybody's permission.
yeah. And I feel like that's
That's the
uh
biggest struggle that I have with most veterans that I work with or talk to
yeah, absolutely,
is just getting past their stubbornness.
yeah,
You know who you are. You're
yeah,
probably here.
yeah. I
Put your claim in
I have that
and be done.
conversation with a lot of vets. It's like, look, you did all of this stuff for the
Yeah.
military. You were one way
You don't, yeah.
beforehand. Now you're a different way. They fucked you up somewhere in the middle. So, they
Yeah.
need to make it right.
And you don't need permission, but and if you do, well, you have mine. Go
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely. You have my blessing. Ominous, Dominus, go to the VA.
Yeah.
Go do it. Uh, so yeah, it's I don't know. The VA is just not. It's not for me anymore. I've tried it over and over and over again, and I keep getting.
Yeah. It's like car insurance, though. Try every couple years.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at 90%, and
Yes.
every
I'm
t-
out.
every time I go back, I get something new added, and they're like, "You're still at 90%."
Yeah, you need that extra 30 or 40 somewhere to
Where,
kick you over the edge,
like,
but
what do
they
you want me to
find a
do?
way to
Like,
say,
do
like
I?
they say, my right ear is service connected, but my left ear is not. Um, I don't know how they come to that conclusion.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
both ears were present during the time.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I
yeah, I mean,
it's I don't know. The VA is on
say
their
10
own.
to get 5,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Yeah. They're on their own calculating system, and it's like whatever. Like, gonna just let me know when you fucked me up enough for me to get compensated for it. You let me know.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, that's crazy.
And sometimes they call you to do another eval and you don't even want to do one. I just had to go through all that. It was a pain.
Yeah. Out.
Stayed the same, but
Yeah,
I checked the 3 block on one of the TBI residuals, which I should get, what is it, like 50% or whatever it is for TBI.
yeah.
But they still kept it at the lower bracket. I'm like, what do you mean? I hit the tier. I checked the block.
Yeah. It's almost one of those things that you're like, "Oh, I guess I have to get a lawyer." Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's crazy. So, um, uh, got off track, but the VA, it's very. We could have our own little. Maybe we'll have a roundtable one day of a bunch of
Yeah.
people
Get
who
like
have.
8 people in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get some people. I know some people who work at the VA, and maybe we can get them in here to answer for us some questions.
Yeah.
uh, they don't make the decisions. They're vets who work there. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I understand. I don't ever hold it against the people that have to work there.
yeah. They're not the ones making the decisions.
It's the guy in the cubicle at the main hospital somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in. It's not even at a hospital. It's just some VA
Yeah.
corporate building with paperworks. They just have nothing but cubicles there.
Yeah.
So back to you. So you were in so you got in 2008 and went to 2015. I think that's what you said.
So end of 7 to the end of 15.
7
Yeah.
to 15. Okay. Did you go to any other? Were you at another duty station or anything? You stayed at
Fort Bragg the entire
Fort Bragg
time.
the entire time. Okay.
Yeah. Even bought a house there for a while.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I figured. Did you feel like you were gonna stay in longer? Is that why you got a house, or you're just balling like
Yeah,
that?
like I knew I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, just based on my the certifications and training and the
Hmm.
unit that I was supporting. They're not gonna
Yeah.
send me anywhere.
Now, did you
Where else could I go?
so when it came time for you to get out, were you like I'm getting out, or is it because, you got shot,
They
stabbed,
told me,
blown up?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they told me it was my time. I
Yeah.
fought it as hard as I could, and they told me not to.
Yeah.
My commander fought it as hard as he could, and First Sergeant fought as hard as they could.
Yeah.
There's no way of getting around it.
Yeah. I mean, at least you had a good unit that stood behind you, and fought with you. Um,
Oh, we were a very
very tight.
untraditional close unit. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
commander coming over, drinking bonfires kind of unit. Yeah,
I joined the wrong MOS. That's what I'm talking about.
well, we could turn it on and off. We knew when to turn it on and off, when to be
Yeah.
professional, when to be buddies. So like, no one really abused it or screwed it up. It was utopia, I
Yeah.
guess, as far as units go.
Yeah, that's good. Those are few and far between. They're very rare, but that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, so, uh, so what happened after? What happened after you got out? So 2015, you're forced to get out. What's going through your
So
head now?
I had a few weeks left,
Yeah.
2 weeks left actually, and DEA called me and asked me if I wanted to come on contract to consult with them.
Hmm.
And that's what I do now.
Oh. Oh wow. That's
Been doing it ever since. Yeah.
that's awesome.
So I get into very tech things. I get into analysis. I get into operational stuff and search warrants, and I do everything.
Hmm. Hmm. That's that's good. It sounds that's really good to hear that you rolled straight from being in your field to
Yeah.
uh, getting a job right before you got out in the same. Not, I don't want to say the exact same type, but I mean, I
Yeah.
guess the
It's a lot
same.
of cubicle time,
Yeah,
but that was an adjustment. But I do get out of it sometimes.
yeah, not as much as you'd like to.
Uh, and we can travel all over the world still. Like
Yeah.
uh, we just had a guy leave to go to Lagos in Nigeria.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Good luck. Uh,
just random stuff like that.
yeah. Well, that's cool.
I get into crypto investigations, social media, financial,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, doctors like dirty docs and stuff.
Oh, still
A little bit
keeping
of everything.
tabs on
Yeah,
people.
I was always a bad guy in my life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's the best way to keep it going because I feel like a lot of people they get out and then they don't feel like they're doing as good as they were when they were in.
Yeah,
Uh, so it's good you can keep that going and still have that same
yeah. With my
drive and
skill set, it's kind of hard to go anywhere else and do
well, yeah.
anything else.
I mean, what are you gonna get a job at Circuit City? Like you're gonna.
Funny story. I actually worked at Circuit City when I was 16 illegally.
Yeah. Oh.
They thought I was 18. I worked there for a week. I never got a schedule. I never got paid. They weren't actually supposed to hire me, but they gave me a shirt and I stood in the lobby for a week and sold computers.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
didn't know what I was doing, but
yeah.
eventually they found out like you're not supposed to be working here. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
But I work for family mostly. We got a bunch of businesses and stuff
Yeah,
when I
that's
was
cool.
growing up, and I still help with those.
Yeah.
Um, there's like a consultative role, I guess, not daily operations or anything.
Yeah. 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 Just when they need, they bring the big guns in.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. So what do you do? I mean, busy, busy, busy. But what do you do on your what do you do on your free time? What do you do in your spare time? What do you do for fun?
Got into this digital world, and it's helped. I would say mental health tremendously. I
Yeah.
think I get to help people uh, who can't help themselves. Like they just need help, and I think that's why I enjoy it, and it's helped
Hmm.
me have a purpose.
Absolutely. I feel you with that. I I started doing this channel for you know mental health and not only for myself but for veterans as well. And
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing is doing what you can, like for not only helping people, but you got to help yourself when it comes down to it. So,
Um, but I do have a lot of knowledge in Discord and all the streaming platforms, so I can help anybody who needs that done.
there you go, man.
Trying to get the Chaos Company Discord going. It's
Yo,
a hard concept to sell, but
yeah,
it'll get there.
we talked about that. I'll put links to well anything you want me to in the description when I put it on YouTube. I'll put all that stuff in there. So,
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate
um,
that.
yeah. So the
The Chaos
video,
Company is not like your traditional Discord, right? It's like a multi-game hub where people who play different things can connect.
mhm. Yeah,
That's the idea behind it.
it's kind of one of those umbrellas. It covers
Yeah.
kind of everything. You gotta get in where you fit in there.
Yep.
And it's growing. I just jumped in there and
Yeah.
looked around, and it's it's it's
Yeah. I got
getting
to redo a lot of things, but
it's getting
we'll get
bigger.
there.
Yeah,
Slow
perfectionist.
growth is still good growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell myself that every day. One step forward is still progress, regardless of.
And I am going to do like a one-off special of kind of what you're doing here with my interpreter. I think we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about that
Um,
maybe a week or two ago. Um,
yeah,
that
I had the best interpreter.
yeah.
He was a local there. He wasn't from that area, but he was from Bagram, Kandahar. But
Hmm, hmm.
this guy, it's really hard to get an interpreter that can translate what you really mean and use slang and understand the context of what you're trying to push through and not make it sound like you use Google Translate. And this guy was amazing.
Yeah,
Um, and so, he, uh, if anyone's read up on the news about what interpreters are going through in Afghanistan right now, we're pulling out and they're basically slaying them by the dozens. But I got him here a few years ago.
yeah.
So
That's awesome.
he got him here, got his visa. He's got his citizenship now. His wife's a citizen now. They have 2 girls.
Oh, that's beautiful.
He's got a pretty good job. I mean, everything's going good for him. And I don't want to bring him onto something in this aspect of talking about his experiences
Hmm,
and the process of what it was like to get here after all of that.
hmm. Now,
So something similar like this, I'm going to do.
hmm,
Just a one-off thing. I don't think I'm going to do it
hmm.
repeatedly, but
Now, is
we'll see.
this is the same interpreter that uh, warned you about the guy coming in and out? Is this the same
Yeah,
guy?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, so you guys spent a lot of time together then, right?
Oh yeah, lots of time together.
That's good. That's good. I'm super excited to see that, and that's going to be on your Twitch channel.
Yeah, yeah.
It's you want to plug your channel? It's I'm not entirely Firestorm, right?
Can
No,
yeah.
you go twitch.tv/ xFire Storm without the O. X, correct?
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. I'll put that link in the description too when this goes up on YouTube. And yeah, so that'll be in there. Your Discord will be in there. You do any other social
Yeah.
medias? Uh,
Twitter.
Twitter. I'm assuming it's
Yeah.
the same thing on Twitter. I'll put that link in there too.
Yeah, everything's universal pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, do you you stream on the silent O? Do you stream on a regular on Twitch or?
I was for a long time, and then I was moving, and moving has been a nightmare. I'm in the new house, but it's
Mhm, mhm.
twice as big as the old house, so there's a lot to do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I was out down for the count for a while. And I've just gotten back into doing it pretty regularly.
Nice.
Um, I don't stream to be famous. I stream to make people laugh, um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
or to watch occasional intense gameplay. But I
Yeah.
like making people laugh. We have the 5M thing going on with the Oasis where there's role play, and I got a character in there that seems to make people laugh pretty good.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Um, that's another good avenue. Like if you're a vet and got you know a lot going on in your head, you just need a place to escape, and like just the role play sounds kind of silly and thespian and theatric, but like it's actually pretty fun. And like it takes you to a whole different literal world, and you just get to be either yourself put some yourself into somebody or make somebody up completely and just roll with it, and it's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I kind of do the same thing. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I
I've
have
never played.
it's such a great time.
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who played really.
Yeah, I've been talking about putting something together maybe once a month or something like that.
Yeah,
So
I
I'll have
wouldn't
to,
mind to get like dabbling and seeing what it's like.
yeah, I'll have to shoot you I'll shoot you a message offline. But yeah, that's kind of I've been doing it since like 2002. And it is definitely kind of a way to like uh just kind of be able to be like kind of let
Whoever
everything
you want.
else, yeah,
Yeah,
let everything else go and just kind of like not have to worry about your whatever's going on in your own personal world. You can just
yeah.
be you just be whatever you want to be, like you were saying, and you don't have to like worry about bills. You don't have to worry about girlfriends, kids, cars, whatever. You don't have to worry about any of that type of stuff. Uh, so it's good, definitely, to kind of like be able to just escape regular life, especially with vets having a hard time, And don't be afraid
Yeah.
to try stuff like that. Don't let people try to talk you out of it, like, oh, that's fucking nerd stuff type stuff. Whatever, man.
I'm open to all kinds of things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
make my own decisions.
yeah. I used to hear that in the Marine Corps all the time because I played when I was active duty, and people would talk shit, and I'm like, well, I mean, you could fight me. I mean, I'm 6'4". At the time, I was like
Pretty beefy,
215.
yeah.
Yeah, So I was like, hey, if you want, we could, you could fight me. Nobody
And
took
if
me.
you lose, you have to play.
Yeah, nobody took me up on the offer, but they still called me nerd.
Yeah,
So
it's all good.
yeah, that's great. So, anything else you want any other short stories or anything you want to tell? You want to share? Anything cool? Uh any stories?
Um, can't really think of like of any more really that I can just jump into. I mean, if you got questions or anybody else has got questions,
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm all for it.
the first question, well, the question I want to ask that I always ask everybody was, what was the best day that you had when you were in the military period? Like the day where you're like, it always brings a smile to your face when you think about it.
Um, Probably the day I realized that I had a lot of high senior leadership's respect for the knowledge that I had,
Hmm.
and being as low on the totem pole as I technically was, like planning and planning trainings and being a subject matter expert and like finally getting recognition for that. And that the day that I got, an award for all of that, I'm like, wow, I'm actually kind of good at this stuff.
Yeah. The day the day that other people realized how good at your job you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's
I got a saying poster on my wall. It's how's it go? No one cares about how much you know until they know about how much you care.
it's deep.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good quote.
yeah, absolutely. It is a real good quote. So I mean, I guess if you want to, we can give it a few minutes, open up for some questions for people who are in chat.
Yeah,
So
it's fun.
if you're watching
Let's
these
do it.
videos on YouTube after the fact, head on over to twitch.tv/VOP Gaming, and you can interact with us and ask questions while we're doing these interviews at the end. So
Absolutely. I'm very reactive. The more you ask, the more I'll
absolutely.
indulge.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we'll kind of go through it. But I do want to thank you for being here.
It's been fun. I'm glad I had the opportunity.
I know it's some vets are like, it's my business is my business, and that's great. Others are, they want to share all their stories with the world. That's great too. But I know a lot are the biggest thing I get from them is, I didn't do anything special. Nobody. nobody's gonna want to listen, like, and it's not true, like no matter what type of stuff you did in the military, whatever you did still mattered, regardless of you did some secret squirrel
Yeah.
shit that you can't talk about, or you stood guard duty on base. It doesn't matter because it all contributed to the overall
All of it makes for a good
military
story
machine.
regardless.
Yeah, because everybody lived different lives and everybody did different things in the military, and because of that, um, everybody had a different experience. And just because some people's experiences weren't like heart pounding movies that they like Hollywood makes and stuff like that, doesn't mean it wasn't exciting. You know,
Yeah.
so
I definitely hold zero judgment towards anybody and what they've done.
absolutely, I'm all for you were willing to write your country a blank check and let them cash it in however they wanted to. You have my respect. Period. Uh, it's the people who kind of the people that get me the most are the well, I was gonna, but, and then it's like, all right, give me your excuse, because
Yeah.
and I get the people who there are people who like birth defects or MS, or stuff that limit you from open heart surgery, stuff like that. But it's
I
the
think
people.
everybody should do it. At least try. Just do the minimum. Like, what is it, 2 or 3 years now? I don't even know what it is now, but
Yeah, and there's different branches for everybody. You don't have to join the Marine Corps and feel like a
join the Air Force.
piece of shit every day. Yeah, if you want to just
Join
chill,
the Air Force. Make a good
join the Air
career for
Force.
yourself.
Yeah, uh, eat steak and lobster and
Yeah.
work on computers. You know that type of stuff. Um, but yeah, I feel like everybody should do it. It's only a few years. Like you did. Everybody went through high school, so
Yeah, if you don't know what you want to do with your life and you kind of want to go to college, but you don't know how you're going to pay for it,
yeah,
just join the military.
yeah, it's only a few years. Yeah, chair
Yeah.
force is the best
And
force.
you get college out of it. So, and you can do college while you're in.
Yeah,
You could be done by the time you get out, technically.
absolutely. Yeah, you take advantage of the system, because the system's going to take advantage of you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody has any questions at this point. Um, so yeah, I want to thank you for being on. And I definitely like to, bring you on for, like we were talking about, I want to do the VA, like a podcast about the VA, good stories, bad stories. Some, I want to do some 22 stuff. That's a big, that's something I really want to plan. But I want to make sure it comes out
Yeah.
proper.
My DMs are always open for stuff like that.
Oh, I bet they are. Awesome. Well, I guess, with that being said, thank you for being on. Go ahead and go check out his, the Twitch, Twitter, the Chaos,
Chaos Company.
Chaos Company. Right, tip my tongue. I swear I've done this maybe once or twice. Chaos Company, check that out. All the links will be in the description. And yeah, cheers, Ghost. But yeah, thank you for being on. It was really good. I'm really interested in hearing some of these secret scroll stories that you can't tell online.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we'll have to just have a fireside chat with a few people and
Fireside chat. That's a good title right there.
There you go. I give you permission. You can use it. Uh, fireside chat with Firestorm. Oh man, right there.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. Just shout me out when you use it. So
Appreciate you.
yeah. Now, do you have a time frame for when you're thinking about doing this one-off with your interpreter?
Just got in touch with him last week. He said absolutely I'll do it, and I
Okay.
just gotta. I'm gonna figure out how I want. I'm not sure. What I really don't know is, do I want to fly him down here and get my studio finished setting up, or do I want to do it on
Mm-hmm.
a call like this?
Yeah. Hmm?
I'm leaning towards setting the studio up finally
Hey,
and finishing it, but
if you're gonna do it, do it. And if
make
you
it look like a Joe Rogan cast or something.
Hey, Joe Rogan, man. Joe Rogan's a man. I love me some Joe Rogan podcasts.
I'd definitely like to fly him down here.
They'd be great. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like in person's always the best, but
Yeah,
with
I
the
got the
last,
space for it. This whole like basically a studio in here.
maybe we'll get one of those Firestorm studio tours in
Yeah,
sometime in the future. If you follow any of my social medias, whenever Firestorm does it, it'll be there. So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely let everybody know.
yeah, it'll be everywhere. If you're anywhere in this community whatsoever, it'll be everywhere.
Yeah,
So
especially with what's going on right now in the news for these
yeah,
interpreters.
yeah, absolutely. So, but awesome, yeah. So thank you for being on. This will be on. It'll be up on Twitch for about a week. Rogues is still up there. I'm gonna take it off, and then it'll live on YouTube until either the robots take over or you decide that you don't want it up on YouTube, or the black SUVs tell me to take it down. One of
Yeah,
those
I don't
options.
think we got into any of those categories. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I was really scared to ask some questions because uh, I live in the middle of nowhere, so if somebody shows up at my door,
It's for a reason. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. I don't want to threaten anybody because if they do show up, I don't. I'm just gonna stop that sentence right there. But anyways, yeah. Thank you for coming on and hanging out. Thank you everybody for hanging out in chat. The support is overwhelming. It's amazing. And next week, I think. Okay, I think I can talk about it because we've cemented the plan. We're gonna have Doc Soto is gonna be next week's.
Oh, cool. I've been
Uh,
watching. I've been watching him a little bit on Twitch
oh
recently.
man, he runs the MVP. Um,
Okay.
it's just amazing. But
I think I'm
that's
thinking of the right doc.
yeah, Gingy, sneaky
Yeah.
Gingy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we we'll get that's we're not here to talk about him. But anyways, that's next week. But thank you for everybody hanging out. Thank you yet again. I'm so grateful that you decided to take a couple hours out of your time to sit down and chit chat a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you need any help,
Yeah, absolutely.
feel free to ask. I know a lot.
Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah, if anybody else needs help, I think it's what is it, $49.99 an hour, something like that. Hit up
Minus the decimal, but yeah,
oh,
$4.99 an hour. I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
Hey, there you go, $4.99 an hour.
Absolutely free. I don't expect anything back.
Well, he said it, not me. But if you need any help, all the links will be in the Discord and stuff like that, or not. Well, not in the Discord, in the YouTube. Sorry, the streaming things. All of his links this side. His links will be in the YouTube stuff. So feel free to hit him up there, and he'll help you out. Super, super caring, super awesome, and super knowledgeable. So if you need help, you heard it. He'll help you out where he can. So
Absolutely.
awesome. All right. Well, thank everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for all the support. And next week, like I said, we'll be here with Doc. But until then, remember who you are. We'll see you in the next one.